Right, so Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal just took place in the main event of UFC 251 Fight Island, and I'll be honest with you guys, it wasn't the best way to end a night of fights overall. I could have thought of many different ways a main event could go to finish on a bit of a brighter note. After the first Fight Island card, this momentum occasion has now come to a close. I could think of many different scenarios of fights in main events that I would rather watch than that one, but still, Usman got his hand raised. A fight happened exactly kind of how I said it was going to happen. I thought Masvidal was going to have some success in the first round, which he did. He just showed he was on another level to Usman striking wise, but then come the second round, we were looking at a little bit of a different Masvidal. I said Usman was going to destroy in the last 4 rounds. He didn't destroy, but he did hold on to Masvidal long enough in the last 4 rounds and secure some top positions in the takedowns as well, enough to score him some points there with the takedowns, and landed some decent ground and pound with the elbows as well to secure the last 4 rounds, as I said it would happen. However, I do have to say I'm very pissed off at the outcome of the fight. I wanted Masvidal to win. I'm sure we all did. I made a video praying that Masvidal would beat Kamaru Usman. We all actually prayed in my live stream and my fight companion. We all prayed together that Masvidal was going to get rid of Kamaru Usman and save the welterweight division, because that's kind of what we're looking at here. The welterweight division is going to get forgotten about. No one's watching Burns versus Usman. No one's watching Usman versus Burns. I'll watch it. I actually think Burns beats Usman now more than ever after watching that performance he just gave against Jorge Masvidal, but still, I don't think many casuals or many of the majority of the population are going to be tuning into any Kamaru Usman fights in future. Hopefully Masvidal can get back on the right track with a big win against someone like maybe Leon Edwards. I know Wonderboy called him out, but I don't really see that fight happening. I feel like the Leon Edwards versus Masvidal fight in a few months would be good. Maybe Masvidal versus Colby Covington, but then again, I know that Covington versus Woodley might be getting signed pretty soon, so we'll see what happens there. Just unfortunate to watch, really. It just sucks to the things that we work for, the storylines that we build. And Masvidal's got a good excuse here, because he did take the fight on a few days' notice. He showed up. For Usman not to finish him is somewhat embarrassing, but then again, it's kind of hard to finish Jorge Masvidal, but he just completely... I don't think he trained full camp, because he did gas out pretty early in that fight and looked like a different Masvidal in round 2. I was under the impression that maybe he had trained the whole time and was just using the short notice as a bit of a backup plan for when he does inevitably lose. But I don't think he was training 100%. Maybe he was in the gym. Maybe he was staying running. Maybe he was keeping his cardio up. But he did not look in peak physical condition. He looked a little bit flabby in certain situations in the fight where we don't really see that kind of body fat on Masvidal usually. He gassed out a little bit in the second round. I see in his hands get a little bit heavy, but his takedown defense, despite not being in prime physical condition, he just stuffed a lot of Usman's takedowns. Usman's takedowns were just not going. Like, there was a couple good ones where Masvidal kept occasionally stepping with his right leg over his left. He stepped over himself a couple times, closing his legs together and giving someone a free double leg. He gave Usman that double leg. You know, just a little mistake that you make, I'm sure, in a fight. I'm not going to be here to give technical advice while you've got Kamaru Usman staring at you looking for takedowns. However, Masvidal kept stepping over himself. He gave Usman that double leg at one point where Usman got both his legs right together. He should have been stepping with his left and following with his right if he's moving left. If he's moving right, step with the right, follow with the left. You know, the basic stuff, but obviously I'm not going to sit here and act like I would have done any better. You've got Kamaru Usman staring at you. And Usman cracks. Usman hits hard. But I did take away a lot of things in this fight. Usman isn't a good fighter. And I think a lot of people are going to be shocked by me saying that, but against Colby Covington, I think they were in a bubble of striking, where both of their striking wasn't good, but together, they made each other look really good, because you're only good as the competition in front of you, you know? Which is kind of true. Like, you can look really good against this level of competition, but when you really face a real striker, it shows the difference in speed and technique and in all thought-making processes. Like, Usman isn't a good fighter to me. I don't see what makes him so great. I do see the size. I see the size advantage he has over his opponents. I see the strength advantage that he has over his opponents. He's got long fingers, so he's got really good wrist control. There were some moments in the fight where Masvidal was grabbing the gloves, Usman was grabbing the gloves, and then there was a groin shot that didn't land, but it brushed the cup of Masvidal. He got a little bit of a breather. Then Usman was faking some groin shots apparently as well. There was a little bit of fouling back and forth. I'm not willing to say that Usman was the one fouling Masvidal or Masvidal was the one fouling Usman. But still, I just don't see what Usman does so great, and that's really difficult for me. I hope I don't get dislikes for this, for trying. I'm not being salty here, guys. When I watch the Ultimate Fighting Championship and I see the UFC champion of the world, I know why they're so great. I can see the reaction time of Israel Adesanya and the thoughts that he's making in the middle of the cage, and the way he throws the punches with such precision, and the way he sets up the knee for when Derek Brunson is running forward and then fakes the right hand and throws the question mark kick with the right hand behind it afterwards. Like, I can see that amazing stuff happening. I can see Yan doing what he did to Aldo tonight. I can see the technique in Holloway versus Volkanovski. But when I watch Usman, he's not good at fighting. And that's going to be shocking to hear from some people out of me. I'm not salty, guys. I feel like I need to reiterate that again. I picked Usman to win. I wanted Masvidal to win, but I knew Usman was going to win. I thought he was going to win more dominantly. His takedowns look sloppy. And I am going to be critical here, because we kind of have to be. That wasn't a good performance from Usman. I mean, he had the strength advantage. A lot of people were making the argument that maybe he shouldn't have been able to hold Masvidal against a cage for that long, but at the same time, he's not doing nothing. He is landing the foot stomps, the heel stomps to the foot. He's landing the body shot, and although it's not doing any damage, like, it is landing, and it is something that is happening in the fight, so it's not like Goddard can step in and say, nothing's happening here, I'm going to have to separate you. The shoulder strikes as well from Usman, they somewhat worked, but he's not a good fighter. His jab is sloppy and lazy and terrible. His kicks are laboured and bad and heavy, and they don't return well to his stance. His right hand is sloppy. It misses the target so often. He overthrows it. He hooks it behind people's heads. He doesn't land it very well. His jab, again, he had the reach advantage here. Not a good jab from Usman. Lazy. Masvidal was catching him over the top with some good counters in that fight. Usman's ground control, although good in certain moments, like Masvidal in the condition that he's in, gassed out very clearly. You should be able to somewhat dominate those positions, but Masvidal was able to get back up. And Usman was bigger and stronger than him, but Masvidal still managed to scramble. I learned a little bit about Masvidal's takedown defense. But then again, even the takedowns of Usman, the single leg that he threw, it wasn't good. It was just grabbing a single leg and pushing Masvidal against the cage a bit. And in the double legs, he had his hands together on double legs. But Masvidal just out-techniqued him in the grappling a couple times. But where the strength mattered and where the size mattered, Usman won those moments of the fight. There was a moment in the third round or the fourth round, I believe, where Usman had a body lock. Hands together, tight around the body lock on Jorge Masvidal. And Masvidal hooked one of Usman's leg to stop himself from being taken down. Technical advantage Masvidal. Great takedown defense. But Usman's stronger and bigger. So it's kind of hard to overcome that when you're a smaller guy and you aren't as physically superior as Usman is. I'm finding it hard more and more when I watch Usman to see what makes him good. And I think this fight kind of proved a little thing to me, that maybe it's just his size and his strength. He's very strong. I'm going to give him that. But other than him holding Masvidal, do you know what I mean by this, guys? I'm not saying that Usman is terrible. I know Usman would fuck me up in a stand-up match, no matter what. He's amazing. He'd beat a majority of guys in a stand-up match in the world. 99.9% of guys in the world would lose to Usman in a stand-up match. I really do understand that. But I hope you guys understand, I don't see what he's doing good other than being stronger and bigger than his opponents and being able to hold them against a cage. I watched Woodley Usman again recently. I don't see it. I see strength from Usman. I don't see anything else good from him. He's not good. I think Burns would beat him. I think we learned a bit about Usman here, and I'll tell you this. The narrative works. The narrative works that Masvidal has set out for himself, taking the fight on short notice. On full camp, there's an argument to be had that maybe Masvidal would do things a bit better. Now, there's also an argument that maybe Masvidal had a full camp the whole time. But still, I think on a full camp, there's a real fight to be had there. I'm not going to suggest an immediate rematch. That would be stupid. Jorge Masvidal's a title challenger. Even Dominic Reyes, who beat John Jones, doesn't get an immediate rematch. But still, I think there's an argument to be made about a lot of guys. I don't think Usman is this now dominant force that I can't see anyone beating anymore. Do you guys understand that? And I don't think it's because Masvidal made him look human. Because I was watching Usman a lot in that fight. He took some good shots from Masvidal. None of them really landed clean. One thing I do want to say about Masvidal's performance, he looked for the KO too much. He just needs to find it. I know I'm just sitting here giving technical advice to professional fighters, but one thing I'll say to Masvidal, he was overthrowing a lot of his shots. That's one thing that was definitely happening. He was overthrowing them. Walked into a takedown one time by overthrowing. He should have just found his shots. I liked the leg kicks he was throwing. Usman managed to catch one in the first round and eventually just lay on top of Jorge Masvidal for a bit. But yeah, man. It's just unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that Masvidal lost. He's just been put on the UFC cover. He would have been a superstar as champion. Now you've got Usman, who no one cares about. Unlikable. Not even that you want to see Usman lose either. So it's not like a Mayweather thing where he's like purposefully arrogant and playing a heel because he wants you to buy his pay-per-view to see him lose. It's just like Usman is him, but him just isn't likable or entertaining or funny or interesting, lied about his upbringing. Like, it's unfortunate to have him as champion. Because when you see the name UFC, because a lot of people watching this card thinking that UFC is about to take over the fighting world, and UFC is this amazing thing. Think about all the cards we've had recently. Everyone's impressions of what UFC is this crazy fight. That's what everyone thinks. Think about all the cards we've had. Amazing cards. UFC 250. Think about all the amazing finishes. UFC 249. All of the amazing fights that we watched. Usman doesn't fight. He strongman contests with people. And it's hard to have him as champion. But he's champion. I respect the sport enough to know that he deserves to win. He won 4 rounds to 1 in my opinion. But it's really tough to have him as champion because when people think UFC, they think savages. Amazing fighters that do amazing things. And they watch Usman as the UFC world champion. The ultimate fighting world champion. And they see him look shit in every area of the fight, but just be bigger and stronger than Masvidal. It's unfortunate. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me here. I respect Usman for his performance. He won. I'm a fan enough of the sport to understand that. It's just, I guess what I'm saying is, Usman, don't be complaining if you aren't making the money you want to make. Kind of, because no one's going to buy your pay-per-views. Because they watch... I'm not saying this, guys. I'm trying to voice the opinion of the fans that will buy these pay-per-views. They want to buy a pay-per-view to watch the Ultimate Fighters. And they're not going to buy that to watch Usman. Because he's not an Ultimate Fighter. He's an athlete. He's strong. What else is it? He's tough. He's got good cardio. I guess you could say he's tough as well. Good cardio. Good foot stomps. Heel stomps to the foot. They were good. Caved in Masvidal's foot. I actually thought Masvidal's foot had a dent in it at one point in the fight, so that was pretty crazy. But Usman, world champion. Good job. Division's dead. Hopefully the next guy beats him. I'd rather Burns beats him because Burns, really entertaining, really good fighter. But good stuff from Usman. Great performance. Listen, I said it would happen. As much as I hated it would happen, I literally said we're going to have a good first round. I gave the first round to Masvidal, even though Usman took him down and held him there for a bit. Takedowns with no damage don't really mean anything anymore, and I thought Masvidal landed bigger shots. But then I said that Usman just going to win every round after that and just lean on him and lay on top of him for 5 rounds. And that's exactly what happened. I'm somewhat happy that I got my prediction correct, but I'm also somewhat sad because he's our champ, you know? No one likes him. He doesn't really speak and show the embodiment of a fighter because he doesn't really fight and he's not really that good, but he's strong and big. So good job to Usman. Great performance, realistically. And also another thing, you got to say, just before the end, I want to give it up to him. Masvidal took this on short notice, but he's training for Usman. He knows the problems he has in his game is wrestling. He's going to be training his wrestling when he's not training for anything. Usman was training for Burns. Had to switch to Masvidal on short notice. So, if there's one thing I can give to Usman, it's that. So, good job, Usman. Took it on short notice, made the adjustments, got the win. So, yeah, good performance. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Really Horrible way for the night to go. I mean, just give me more Usman, you know. I just wish he would landed a few more, been a bit more dominant. He was grinding his head against Masvidal against a cage and opened up a cut on Masvidal's face, which is not. It was unfortunate that Usman is champ because he's not a fighter, but he's strong. So good job, Usman. Like and subscribe. Good fighter, man. He's winning fights against good fighters. So he has to... it's so hard to voice my opinion here without sounding like a salty little cunt. But I hope that I've made you guys understand what I mean. It's so hard to voice it without sound like a casual or sound like this. But I feel like I'm speaking truth here. He's really... My cousin's got a fucking better jab than Usman. And he's never trained. I've just seen him hit pads a few times. And I've seen him get in a scrap once. And he's got a better fucking jab than Usman. I'm not joking. Usman's jab is shit. Like, it's just... But yeah, good. He's a champ. Fucking good job, Usman. Tactical. Knew what he was doing. Has a real good idea of fight. He's got a good fight IQ. Another thing I can give to Usman there. I'm just trying to find some positives here for Usman. But like and subscribe. Click that button there. Goodbye. Masvidal versus Covington next. Masvidal versus Leon Edwards. Burns versus Usman. Ain't nobody buying it, but maybe it can headline a fight night or something. Goodbye.